BBI is expected will address issues of corruption, inclusivity, lack of national ethos, devolution, security, divisive elections, ethnic antagonism, shared prosperity and responsibility, which those opposed to it thrive in for survival. Sir Lloyd Mutua says the BBI report, which people haven't seen or read, seems to have divided the country already. How sure are we that this report wouldn't scare our economy and break it completely, and it's already on the deathbed? The Global Youth Forum, that's what you call yourself, you say youth are lazy and just good in empty talks. They can be bought anytime and still vote for the same people again. Kome Ikunywa says Kenya is run by corruption monarchs painted in colors of democracy, people who orchestrate constitutional coup to expand their bellies at the expense of poor majority. With such mentality, BBI will not work. Time is ripe for people to govern themselves. Constant Cap says there seems to be a clear intention to weaken devolved functions. This is because stronger counties means less relevance or significance of the center and more participation and demands for accountability. All right, those are the concerns that are coming through. Now I have been told I have to be gender sensitive, which is true. So I'll ask all the ladies in the house to ask their questions and concerns, starting from you at the back. Start with your introduction and then state your concern or question.
Thank you. My name is Jeruto and I am a student. And like most of us, I share the sentiments that the problem is not really on the systems that we have, but it is on the people whom we have in those offices. I'll give an example of the political parties. I don't think most of us, well, the laymen who make the majority of the population, really understand the role of the political parties and the impact they have on us. For example, those nominated seats in parliament, the 16, the 12, the positions for the youths, for the people living with disabilities, they are elected. Those seats are filled by people nominated by political parties. And I think this is where we go wrong, because we cannot be accountable for what is the criteria really. Does the local man know what the criteria is do we really vote in the people because we are interested in them, or is there even a way we can challenge the manifesto of each and every political party? Because it is a constitutional provision that before they get into power, they have to give a list of people they will nominate to those positions should they be elected into power. As a young person, do you take your time to read the manifesto of the people before you vote? I do read the manifesto. I recently watched the YouTube videos and they were sounding like comedy, because it's like how many years down the line and nothing is happening yet. So I feel like the young people really are not enlightened on the role of political parties. These people, they govern, they are the people, if I may say, no offense, if we don't take, if you're not cautious of the people we elect into power through the political parties, these nominated seats may be filled with people who are not competent to take the positions up. Okay. And in turn, they may be acting as puppets who we just wake up tomorrow and we find the bill has been voted in. So even as we anticipate the BBI report, I hope that it is, if really it was in good faith, enacted in good faith and the best interest of the people, it will really look at the procedures and not seek to create more positions, because in my opinion, the positions are not the problem. It is the people who are in those positions. All right. Let's pass the microphone to her and let's hear your concern. Start with your name and then your concern or question.
My name is Chelsea Nanjala, and my concern is, as much as we are talking about the elections and how the IEBC has failed and the political parties, literally, if we really want change in the elections and everything, it should start from the people way up to the institutions, to the political parties. Every person has to change for the people. They should be cautious of the people that are voting in. You should know, you should not be swayed. For the youth, you literally know this person is bad, or you literally know this person doesn't have the best interest at heart, but you still vote for them. Okay, and if the person has best interest at heart, is voted in, once in power, then the person literally has nothing at heart because of the power and wants the money. Now, it has to change from the people way up. If you want change, the people have to change. The political parties have to be accountable. The IEBC has to follow the process. The president has to do their work, as in every person should be responsible for the change. Okay. No institution should be.
Okay. Let's hear from you at the back.
Yeah, so my name is Grace Kinoti. I am a student and a journalist in the making. My concern is, change is inevitable, and change begins with you and you, me and you. And you see, like most of the youth nowadays, we are so empowered, but when we get into the systems, we actually carry ourselves into the systems. We are busy here crying out, saying we have so many issues, but once we get those platforms and are given opportunities to change, we become swayed into the systems and do. Tomorrow we are going to have the BBI report being released, and some of us are looking at it like the solution. But again, we have the TGRC report, we have the Waki report, we have the Ndugu report on lands, so many other reports that have been there and have not been implemented yet. Then we are busy here wasting 11 billion shillings trying to come up with another report that is not actually making sense. So I believe youth are the leaders of tomorrow. The change will only begin with you, because some of these leaders are going to retire in some few years' time. You are going to be the leader of tomorrow. What are you going to do? Are you going to be carried into the systems that Kenya is currently having, or are you going to make change?
Okay. Pass the microphone to us. Start with your name and then your question or concern.
My name is Edith Atieno, and what I want to talk about is politics. Like, politics has become order of the day in Kenya, whereby our leaders, our chosen leaders, they use the little time they have, the little 5 years that they have to do politics, morning, afternoon and night. All we hear in news and all over the country is politics. Now, if we take a look at the citizens, the citizens, what I can say about them is that they only misbehave when it comes to elections, whereby they voted for the leaders they wanted and they did not get the leaders they wanted. They were not chosen. Maybe whatever they wanted did not take place according to them. Now, where they carry strikes that are not reasonable, whereby they destroy people's properties. That is where we normally have chaos. But after these leaders, after them having the seats that they've got, now they're supposed to be leading the citizens. Okay. It's them that are now not bringing that unity, that peace that is needed. And my main concern is that the same way the handshake took place between Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga and our President Uhuru Kenyatta, that same thing should take place between our Deputy President Ruto and Raila. I think if that can happen, we can have a peaceful election come 2022.
Thank you. Let's hear from you now. Very briefly, 30 seconds.
My name is Derek, and my concern is that we have been circumnavigating in a hypothetical vacuum as far as the political divide in Kenya is concerned, because we are aware that in 1963, Kenya and Singapore are at the same level in terms of the economy. But currently, we can see how far Singapore has come in that regard and where we as Kenyans are. So the question that I beg is that the country has been divided within ethnic lines since time immemorial. And the solution to this is that I believe that the solution to this is the youth that are here today. Because the politics of ideology can only come about where civil education is there. Because most of the people who vote in leaders because of their ethnicity are people who have not been in terms of academia, in terms of civil education, they don't have that civil education. So in terms of the youth, we are the ones who will lead this revolution, in a sense that later, maybe it might not occur now, because we are still muddling in very many issues. It might not occur now, but as time goes by, the youth are the only electorate which will come about with the sense of selecting leaders based on ideology and not just hot air and political ethnicity and political charade. Thank you.
Very briefly.
Yeah, thank you.
We're running out of time now.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Raila Opany. I'm the Youth Governor, Migori County, and National Coordinator at Peace Ambassadors, Kenya. For me, my problem is with youths. What are we doing as youths to change the status of this country? Because, okay, for me, Migori County with the issue of violence after election.
Yeah.
And I started Peace and Leadership Forum that is happening every year, twice a year, and nobody funds me to educate the youths of Migori County on the importance of peace.
Okay.
So instead of us youths lamenting on this, that the government is not doing this, the government is not doing this, IEBC and what have you, as we are learned, we are here. What about that man in the village, that border man in the village? How can he know that these things are happening?
So
that
take
guy,
action, that's what you're
that
saying.
guy cannot come to the television and talk about this.
All right.
So what are we doing as people who came to Nairobi and learned about these things?
Okay.
Can we go back to the village and educate our people?
I'm really squeezed for time. I'm going to give you 20 seconds each.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, in conjunction to what my friend and the other friend said, I want to ask them, I just want to ask the question. They were given a chance to give out their views on the PPI report. However much we had some sidelining and whatever, why don't they have gone and give out their views? Did they?
Okay.
That is a big question.
All right.
My name is Lorini Simiti, a student leader at the University of Nairobi. Okay, according to me, I don't think the BBI is a solution, because if the constitution right now has not been implemented, how can the BBI be implemented? I think those people at the government are just trying to create their own offices.
Okay.
So the advice to us youth, let us read the constitution, follow the right channels, and create our own offices.
All right.
Okay.
30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm Hesbon. So my question is to Professor Kibwana. He has said that as youths, we should bring what we have on the table so that we can find a way forward. So, Professor Kibwana, how can we do this and we have no right channels that will hear us as youths what we have to say?
Okay, he'll respond to that as we close.
My name is Charles from DC Laser Hill, a youth leader. And I would like also to ask Madam Lillian, you talked of that there's prosecution. Okay, the people who are caught maybe during the process, they're taken to court, but no action is taken. So what next? What should follow next?
Okay.
Then the last thing is that I also like to motivate we as youths. We are capable of doing each and everything. As the example that, like the governor of Migori is one of us, and no one funds him. That's a challenge to each one of us, and it is also a wake-up call. Thank you.
Got it. 30 seconds. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Dennis Moi Mongai, the president of Origi Youth Affairs from Murang'a County and a senior member of Economic Liberation Front. All I have is that preventing election violence is not by holding free and fair elections. It won't bring us good democracy. Bringing us good democracy is just by supporting independent candidates. When we support independent candidates, we don't have that tribe following that one, we don't have that tribe following that one.
That is not necessarily true, but thanks for the concern. Yeah, let's hear that.
Okay, Trevor, my main concern, and I want to say that, one, in Kenya, elections are never won. Elections, everybody believes that, elections are never lost. Everybody believes that he or she is a winner in election.
Okay.
That is one of the problems that we have. But now coming back to the solutions of what we as a country needs to forge way forward, I think I need to put it clear, and as the youth, that BBI is not a solution of building bridges initiative is not a solution.
Okay.
We have got this many reports that had been there. Let us go back, because that is where the problems are. Let us go back to those reports, bring them on board, let us have them implemented, and that way we shall have solved everything.
Okay. Yes, sir.
My name is Solomon Omoimo Kisore. I'm the mentor of these youths. I've always supported them and given them a way forward of how to go about economic revolution. But my concern is about our institutions.
Okay.
As for me, institutions that are in place are good. I've observed that the problem is characters leading these institutions.
Okay.
For example, what happened with IBC in terms of Chapter 6? Were these cleared? How did you clear them? That they lead from here, from grassroots up to the national level. That's where I have a problem.
Okay.
But if we could be rushing to changes every time and then changes, our institution is good. Why don't we make sure that even I cannot blame people at the grassroots.
Okay.
They take what the IBC has given them.
So it's the institutions that have a problem,
the institutions,
the characters in there.
Really.
Okay.
Institutions.
Okay.
As if I may ask, as an institution like IBC being manipulated, could be a character somewhere, someplace, manipulated the whole thing, hijacked the whole thing that we hear. And again, let me talk of this ideology, mindset that stolen, election are not won in this country, they are stolen. To me, I'm opposed to that.
Okay. And we're really pressed for time here, so I'll just start with you. If you're the president today, how would you fix the system?
Allow me first to say that, you see, the real challenge we have is that the political class and the Kenyan masses have refused to do elections on an issue-based methodology. For instance, if you were to check, what is it that the current government, what are the economic policies that they promised you? They only talked about dams, 5 dams, several dams. They talked about stadia and a few other mega projects, but they didn't tell you how they were going to fund it. They said nothing on how they were going to improve the economy. They didn't give you a blueprint on how they are going to ensure there is production again in Kenya. As soon as they went into power, they imported powdered milk, and then they just replaced it with your milk from the cows. And now you can't sell your milk, so the country gets even poorer. They didn't tell you they were going to borrow excessively. But look at where we've reached. I'm simply saying that the structure of governance, when my friend here asked how we are going to fix the economy, he asked a question which Kwame Nkrumah was asked 50 years ago. And he corrupted a verse in the Bible when he said that, seek ye first the political kingdom, and all these things shall be added unto you. You see, that is what he said. He was simply reinforcing the fact that it is the political class that messes the economy or that fixes the economy. You will not fix the economy on your own unless you ensure that you force the political class to identify their political program through a clear policy in a political party. Can we start electing political parties and not individuals? But you like electing individuals, you like going into tribes, and the tribes promise you nothing other than looting plus more looting.
Okay.
So really the real situation on that. Now, on the BBI, how this thing can be fixed, I'm in agreement with the president and Raila Odinga that, you see, we've got to change our culture. We must stop, first of all, creating violence around every election. The 2 contenders in every seat, or 3 contenders, must accept the election that very morning. That whatever has been announced, let's stop at that. Let us not kill other Kenyans. Remember, we killed Baby Pendo and several others in these very elections that we've just come from. We've killed several youths because we disagree.
Yeah.
Let us stop this disagreement. I hear a lot of people talking about us, telling us that, what is this BBI? There are 9 points. Are we telling ourselves that there are no problems of lack of inclusivity? Why? There are Kenyans who feel they are not part of this government at all. And we must look for a solution. We must look for a solution for this electoral violence.
Okay.
We must look for a solution for corruption. Why are we looting? We must look for the solution to all those issues. BBI is not a constitution. No, it is at least 5 issues. What do we do on these issues?
Okay.
Can we now live as Kenyans and forget about living as tribes? And can we put onto the table a program in which you are going to change this country so that the youth can get jobs?
All right. Zaja, if you're the president, How do you fix the institutions? What would you
Yes.
change?
Before I go to that, will you allow me to respond and clarify two issues?
Okay.
One, on the issue of vetting of candidates. It is not done by the IEBC. The Chapter 6 that is in the Constitution has life in the Leadership and Integrity Act. And all candidates do is just to fill out the declaration form. Have you ever been accused of this and this? That is the vetting that happens, and the form is taken to IEBC. So if you are thinking IEBC has a role on that, it was scraped on the floor of Parliament. Those were some of the amendments that were made before the 2013 general election. And on the young man who asked about the electoral offences, the Elections Act has very broad offences, and of course spells out how those offences are punished. And just for your comfort, IEBC has the powers to investigate and prosecute, and IEBC does not do that alone. There is the office of the ODPP, and of course the police, and of course our courts are there to ensure that those who are found culpable, they get the punishment that is prescribed in the law. Now, if I was president, I think I said earlier that we have put a very high premium on the presidential election, and Kenyans have suffered impunity at all levels. We have suffered impunity. When you look at our constitution, when you look at the preamble, you feel happy that it breathes life to a lot of things that we want to live by as Kenyans. Look at Article 10. What happened? Impunity is still there at its worst. And now we are talking of devolution, not, getting us the fruits that we were looking for. We were looking for participation, we were looking for inclusivity, and of course ensuring that we bridge, not even the electoral divide, we bridge the economic divide. What you're talking about, that we are yet to see. So I think we need to go back and look at the Constitution properly.
Okay.
Instead of going to dig into new documents and new initiatives, why can't we look at what we have in the Constitution? The objects of devolution are well defined. We have just let them go down. Why? We need to come back as Kenyans and realize that we need to build a nationhood. It has been elusive, yes, but we need to build that nation. Okay. Throw away tribalism and remember that if you are poor and I'm rich, you will always be a problem. And that is why the violence will never end. That vicious cycle of people being used before elections. Why is it that the youths are being used before elections? When you are campaigning and you are given money, your vote counts. How come after the election your vote does not count? How will you make that vote count? Okay. I think those are the things that we need to remember. And remember that sovereign power vests in the people.
Okay.
Who are the people? We are the people.
All right. Prof, if you're president,
yes,
what would you fix?
The answer to your hypothetical question.
Are you saying you're not running in 2022?
I would consider myself very lucky because this country is very well resourced. I would actually invite my countrymen and women to have a discussion. What do we want to do for our country? I would be open to suggestions because I would not want to rule Kenya my way. It would be a corporate affair. And there are so many important contributions that can come from Kenya in every level. Like young people, you really ask them, we sit down and we say, tell me, what do you want us to do for you? Because it's you. It's not me saying that this is what I want to be done for you. It comes from you. Yeah. Because I think the questions of unemployment, the questions of entrepreneurship among the young people, agribusiness, these are doable things. I would again be about corruption, integrity.
Yeah.
Because this is something that if you free Kenya significantly of corruption, you will have lots of resources that you can use for economic activity.
Yeah.
I would ask people to commit ethnic suicide so that we become Kenyans, so that we don't focus on which tribe you come from and therefore, do you think you're on the table, blah, blah, blah. For me, power would be shared. And it's the sharing of power, like what I've said about young people, they would have power. If it is the private sector, to help, to facilitate, like what happened in South Korea, where they helped the private sector to be world leaders in phones, in cars, and stuff like that. Yeah. So I really think that if the political people, and I'm one of them, if we actually decided that Kenya will be first, it would be easy. It would be very easy. It would be piece of cake.
All right. Wanjiru?
If I was president, first of all, I'd ensure that the constitution amendment proposals around the BBI would exclude the three top protagonists, the president, the vice president, Raila Odinga, so that those proposals are impartial, because the extent to which they hope to benefit from those proposals, they are human. Obviously, their selfish interest will then influence what those proposals are going to be. So that's the first thing. I think the second thing I would look at is the debt situation, which is linked to the economic situation, because we have a debt crisis on account of the national policy decisions that this administration has taken. This is a crisis that needs to be acknowledged. And like I think this gentleman, the Economic Liberation Front students here are fronting, it's not just a debt crisis because of these decisions, it's because of our economic structure is favoring a few at the expense of many. We have to open up economic opportunities and make Kenya a place for all. So one would be to acknowledge we have an economic crisis, we have a debt crisis, we need to deal with that. Let's open up and let's talk at what are the solutions, what are the possibilities, and then change the way we are doing development. I would actually, you can't repeal it, but Vision 2030 is based on a faulty model of governance, where you have these large infrastructure projects in a country where you have a lot of small shareholding farmers, small businesses. The majority of people are employed in small businesses. Yet you're saying our solution will come from big infrastructure projects. So that is a misbalance. So I would look at the economic policies to ensure we take policies that will employ people, empower people, and put money into, look at the value chain so that money goes into the pockets of people, not into the pockets of a few. So that's what I'll do.
All right. Thank you for making time this evening. We are 35 minutes beyond time. Wanjiru Gikonyo, National Coordinator, TISA, that's the Institute of Social Accountability. Asante for making time. Honorable Kivutha Kibwana, Makueni Governor, thank you for making time. Lilian Mairi Zaja, former IBC Vice Chair, asante sana for coming in. And Honorable Isaac Ruto, former Met Governor, also thank you for coming in. And thank you all for your valid contributions. That is how far we could go. There's a lot of feedback coming through. We've been trying to scroll some of them down there, but the conversation still continues. It's still trending #1. You can still see a lot of conversation around the Monday report, and we do appreciate it. My name is Trevor Mbija. Always a pleasure having you with us. Let's do this again on Monday. Good night.